It's the internet. You're busy. Let's do this on December 1st, 2022 for the next hour or so. Let me help you sort through the world of gaming on Game Mess Mornings Live with me, Jeff Grubb. Today, Nintendo scolds GameFreak while GameFreak is betting on the ponies. But first, please join me in welcoming today's co-host to Game Mess Mornings. It's Jan Ochoa from Giant Bomb. Jan, how are you doing?
I'm doing terrible because in that intro, you said it's December 1st. It's December now? I thought we had 31 days of November.
I know. November does feel like a 31-day month, and it turns out that's never been the case, which is weird.
What?
I know. Never. But it definitely feels like it should be.
It feels like a 31er.
Mm-hmm.
Jeez. All right. Well, news to me.
It's old pretty fritty. That didn't work, but you know what? We're just going to ignore it and move on.
Flirty, 30, and thriving, baby.
Yeah. I was going to open up with that, right? That, hey, it's already December, but everyone's feeling that. It's unavoidable now. Time has come for us, and it's here to destroy our lives quicker than we could possibly reckon what it has done to us. But, you know, I don't know. How you feeling about end-of-year stuff? Are you catching up on games?
Oh, boy. I think we've said the sentiment across the board in various programs, but they need to stop releasing games, you know? And then I need to stop my bad habit of messing up my save files.
Oh, no.
Hey, it is still the year 2022. There's all this modern convenience, and I still find a way to fudge it all up, baby.
Well, I'm proud of you for at least recognizing that there's a problem, Jan. That's the first step.
Maybe I'm a magnet.
You know what? I feel like I break so many things. I think things break more because of my hair getting into stuff. At least maybe that's the only thing that makes sense. I don't know. Or maybe I do have a stronger magnetic field, a static field around me. But I just feel like my stuff breaks more frequently than it should.
You know what it is, Jeff Grubb, about you? You have a magnetic personality.
Oh,
so maybe that's what it is.
Thank you. I bet it's more like I'm just like that dusty, dirty kid from Peanuts, and it's just getting in everything and messing things up. But yeah, I don't know. It's I don't like when things break, Jan. I get very, very frustrated by it, and so maybe I just notice it more. Pigpen. Thank you, Seraphis Kane. Yes, I'm Pigpen. And so maybe I just notice it more, and it like sticks in my craw. But no, I just feel like things are always around me, just waiting. I got
lying in wake.
Yeah, I got a laptop from Razer. I spent a lot of money on it. The mouse button would no longer click without me having to force it down. It was really stiff. I talked to Razer. I'm like, yes, God, please just fix this. They sent me a new one. This time, that same model of laptop had the same problem within a week instead of several months. So I'm just okay. It's me.
Oh.
It's got to be me. It's probably not me. It's probably Razer's build quality.
It's not you.
Yeah.
It's never you.
Yeah.
No.
It's Razer's fault for everything that breaks in my life. That's what I'm gonna go with.
Come on, Razer.
Okay, let's get into this mess. But before we do so, let's talk about what we do here. Most weekdays, I, Jeff Grubb, will help piece your gaming life back together. That includes breaking news and maybe some of our own original reporting. For all these topics, I'll get the input of a bona fide expert who will make me look smart. If you are watching live on Twitch, welcome. Hello, Twitch. You can always listen to the show later on podcast feeds by searching for Game Mess Mornings or find the RSS on giantbomb.com. Shout out to the RSS gang. You can also catch the show later with chapters and timestamps on YouTube. Hello, YouTube. Okay, we have a lot to get into, so let's start the morning mess with Nintendo Switch was the best-selling games console during UK's Black Friday. This comes from Christopher Dring at gamesindustry.biz. Nintendo Switch was the best-selling games console over Black Friday in the UK. That's according to GFK Entertainment, which tracks sales data for physical games and physical hardware in the UK. The hybrid machine accounted for 42% of all consoles sold during the week. This is due to the return of last year's and frankly every year's Black Friday Switch bundle, which included a Switch Neon machine and Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, as well as 3 months of Nintendo Switch Online. However, this is actually a far weaker performance than last Black Friday for Nintendo. The company faced strong competition this year, led by an aggressive offer by Xbox. Microsoft reduced its Xbox Series S machine to under £200 during Black Friday, and the platform accounted for 40% of all consoles sold during the week. PlayStation 5, which did receive some small discounts of its digital-only edition, accounted for 18% of sales. That might sound like, only 18% for PlayStation. all the systems were up year over year. Console hardware volumes over Black Friday week are similar to last year. And Switch again, number one. This is a GFK boss, Dorian Block, saying that. However, overall Switch volumes are way down over Black Friday 2021, as both Sony and Microsoft also targeted Black Friday week with attempting offers. When I say they're all up, Sony and Microsoft are both up. Nintendo obviously down, but coming to the end of the generation, that's not too surprising, right, Jan? I think we're at this weird inflection point where it's, I think the Switch does want to be like coming back down to earth, like the gravity has captured it, but stuff like Pokemon keeps coming out and inflating it and pushing it back up, right?
Yeah, stuff like Pokemon and then like bundles like this where it adds to the value of Mario Kart 8. Does that come with like the pass to get the DLC at all? Or I guess if it comes with 3 months of the Nintendo Switch Online, it might.
Yeah, is that like, or is the DLC only in the higher to the $50 per year? And is that the $50 per year version that comes with? I honestly don't know at this point, but it might come with that stuff.
Yeah, it's so interesting that I feel like, at least amongst us, and you know, certain parts of the of people that consume games, we all feel like the Switch is slowly sunsetting and on its way out, and people are just, you know, getting more and more, let's say, upset with the overall performance of it that the developers can pull out. Yet here it is yet again, selling gangbusters. And maybe like Nintendo knows that some folks just don't care. They just want to play the Mario Kart 8. Yeah. They want to play the Mario Party, or like the first party Mario games that Nintendo can make really well, and that, you know, Pokemon can just continue sliding through because it winds up selling. It is still a console seller.
Yeah, it's the kind of thing where obviously they're worried about stuff like piracy, and that's a reason to move on. But you do see Pokemon selling the most it's ever sold, and it's like a reminder that Nintendo's audience, while often very savvy and maybe among the most likely to pirate, is also most likely to have families and children, the audience that might be least likely to pirate, at least in the immediate term. So Nintendo's maybe insulated from that a little bit, and it continues to pay off. Just to put in context, like how big the Black Friday was for these companies, it was the biggest sales week of the year so far. During that period, and that, I guess, that also puts it in context. Okay, so this must have been a really big week for both the Switch and the Xbox, because this was PlayStation 5's biggest week, and it was only 18% of the total consoles sold. Geez. Obviously, that comes down to probably supply constraints still, as well as not having as aggressive as of the deals as these other systems had. But then so more than double of the market share for that weekend was Xbox. And it's like, that's okay. So people showed up likely for that Xbox Series S, which, Christopher Dring over GamesIndustry.biz, he always points out that the S is very successful in the UK, which is also why we see things like, when the sales breakdown happens for games, software sales, very rarely does a physical game do very well on Xbox, because so many people have the S, a digital only system. So yeah, it's kind of working for them over there in that market.
X-Ray's Way in the Giant Bomb chat points out an interesting argument here, that there's no alternative for portable systems out right now. I mean, other than like, you're not going to get a Steam Deck at a Best Buy or at a Target, let alone be able to your normal average consumer know what that is, or be able to navigate that.
Yep. Yeah, we're still a ways off.
So the Switch still occupies that spot.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry, Grubb. I got to take this.
Yeah, no problem. Do what you got to do. Yeah, we're still a bit off from like a point where people are looking to the Steam Deck in from a casual audience. It's definitely the kind of thing where there are a lot of people.
Back, Grubb, I'm sorry.
No, dude, do what you got to do. There are a lot of people who are talking about the Steam Deck in our circles, and it's grown. It's definitely a major factor worldwide. It's launching in Japan. I know there's been a lot of interest in it in Japan and Hong Kong and South Korea, places like that. But it's still kind of within our orbit, and it will have to get into retail before it can really get to that next level. All right. You guys remember when in Wayne's World, when Wayne abandons him and leaves Garth all alone? That's how I'm feeling right now. I'm not scared at all. I've never been scared. And right now, it's definitely not the first time I've been scared. All right, let's keep going. Nintendo Switch among Amazon's best-selling Black Friday items. Black Friday items from Stephen T. Wright at GameSpot. This year's Black Friday weekend was Amazon's biggest ever, and while gaming items sold well overall, only one made it into the best-selling items, the Nintendo Switch. Yes, more than 6 years after launch, Nintendo's groundbreaking console continues to do well at retail. According to Amazon's announcement, the Switch sold well compared to other hot items, including Apple AirPods, Echo Dot, Fire Stick TV, and Hasbro Gaming Connect 4. The MetaQuest 2 also did very well for itself. I know, right? Yeah, I'm glad you came back right then. Hasbro Gaming Connect 4. That's a big seller for the holidays, I guess, man. That's been number one on the charts for 40 years. Jan Ochoa.
Have you played the children yet at Connect 4?
I've not. You know what? There's a version of it on that game collection. I can never remember the name of it. Clubhouse games on the Switch.
Right.
I should just pop that on the TV, see how they feel, and if they feel like they can take me on, I'll get a real version of it for them for Christmas. Apparently, it might be sold out, though. It's so hot. The MetaQuest 2 also did very well for itself, making Amazon's electronics gift guide, along with the Switch JBL Bluetooth speakers and the Kindle Paperwhite. Yeah, so Amazon calling out the Switch as still being one of the top selling things, and I think again it has all that momentum. Pokemon's right there. The other systems are still, even though they're much higher supply, still supply constrained. That's the whole story, still, right?
Yeah, and I'm thinking about the story some more of like the Switch continuing to sell, and I think it does completely make sense because I have friends that have young children and they're limiting their amount of screen time, and I guess and I've asked like, oh, do you plan on getting them like a PlayStation or Xbox down the line? And they're like, maybe a Switch, probably a Switch. I trust Nintendo, and I guess Nintendo is still ingrained into like the general population that it is still family friendly and safe for children. Mm-hmm. And then that same friend was like, yeah, I've heard a lot about Splatoon. Splatoon looks sick. Look at those squid kids. And it's these damn squid kids, Grubb.
It's the squid kid. I mean, that's a big seller too. The squid kids are culture now. That's 20 years from now, we will have our first squid kid president, almost certainly. And I will be voting for them. Without a doubt, I'm totally in favor of the Squid Kid platform. I think, maybe a question here is, we get to next year, we get to next Black Friday. If there's not some new Switch out by then, it's probably the Black Friday where these stories don't pop off for the Switch. It probably is going to be the PlayStation 5 or Xbox, depending on which one is in greater supply at that time, right? This is the last hurrah for the Switch, or maybe not. What do you think?
It's so hard to forecast this because I would have said that last year could have been the last hurrah for the Switch, but Breath of the Wild 2 still hasn't come out.
Yeah.
And that is going to be a gigantic system seller for the Switch. I don't see them announcing. I mean, they could be announcing a Switch 2 or whatever the successor will be for 24. But I don't see that stopping sales of the Switch. Maybe folks will think like, oh, maybe it's going to be discounted this year, so I'll just finally get it. There's maybe perhaps a Metroid game still headed to the Switch.
Yeah,
the folks are pointing out.
This should be too much of it. Maybe, who knows? Metroid Prime 4, maybe it'll come out and it will be a system seller, at least here in North America, I guess, but it won't be globally, or especially in Japan.
Sure.
Especially not like Pokemon, right? Pokemon came out this year, and if Metroid Prime 4, let's say, does somehow come out next year, and it's the big holiday game, which there's no guarantee that does happen, it will compare not favorably to Pokemon in terms of sales, but still, it could be enough, you're right, to generate some success or some momentum for it, and then there's still going to be a new set of 5, 6, 7, 8-year-olds that maybe still haven't gotten their own Switch, and next year that might still be enough to put it to the top.
If Sony can finally create the surplus of PS5s, whatever SKU they want to be selling next year, then definitely I could see them occupying that top slot. after like the Black Friday holiday weekend. But it's really hard to bet against the Switch.
Absolutely.
Jeez.
Absolutely.
It's like whatever team fucking Tom Brady's on.
Nintendo promises to seriously address Pokemon Scarlet and Violet's performance issues. This comes from Darren Bonthus at GameSpot. Pokemon Scarlet and Violet have been regularly criticized since launch for arriving in a rough state, and in an update, Nintendo has said that it's taking fan feedback, quote-unquote, seriously as it works on improvements for the game. We are aware that players may encounter issues that affect the game's performance, Nintendo said in a statement accompanying patch notes for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. Our goal is always to give players a positive experience with our games, and we apologize for the inconvenience. We take the feedback from players seriously and are working on improvements to the game. Pokemon Scarlet and Violet version 1.1.0 patch notes include Season 1 of ranked battles will kick off, an issue has been fixed that caused the music to not play correctly during the battles, and other selected bug fixes have been made. So they put out a patch 1.1.0, no mention of performance improvements here, but in their public statement about this patch, they say they are looking at it seriously. Jan, and this is probably going to be our poll question today unless we come up with something else different. Do you believe that Pokemon Scarlet and Violet will get serious improvements to its performance through patches? Like significant.
The optimist in me thinks yes, because a game can 100% be salvaged, because look at No Man's Sky, for example, right? Not that No Man's Sky was terrible upon launch, but it was just very different than what we were all expecting. And then now what the game has grown to become is something completely amazing. Like they've added Pokemon to No Man's Sky.
That's right, yeah.
Pretty much. But that is because forgive me, I forget the developers of No Man's Sky.
Hello Games? I think it's Hello Games.
Hello Games. Hello YouTube.
Yeah. That's right. Hello YouTube and Hello Games.
I trust them as a developer because they have gone to the drawing board and they've been incredibly transparent about the whole process. Meanwhile, I don't trust GameFreak to do the same.
Yeah. I think that's where a lot of people are at. We're seeing the reactions live right now from the audience, and it is a lot of people saying that they're very skeptical, very doubtful of this. I saw that same sentiment on social media. There are some people who believe, like, if Nintendo's speaking up, if Nintendo is pointing out performance, well, they won't let this slide. And I think I get that, and maybe that's what I feel is like. If Nintendo's stepping in, they will sort of force Game Freak to make improvements, but also at the same time, like, Game Freak is independent, and they're looking ahead to DLC. They're looking ahead to a remake of Black and White, or a Let's Go of whatever generation from forever ago. They got to start worried about selling the next Pokemon game. This one's selling. They their bank account's fine, but they got to worry about selling the next one. So, maybe when I do the full calculus there, I kind of come back to being, I am doubtful that we will get significant improvements. I think there will be some performance upgrades. Sure. Some things will be shorn up, maybe quite a few more bug fixes. But I don't think we're going to be looking at a game that is running at a solid 30 in every scenario ever, really, here. Unless maybe with the DLC, when the DLC launches as paid DLC, maybe that does it where we will improve it now. But before then, probably not.
I even hazard to get hopeful about that. Sure. I mean, I had issues with Sword and Shield, and none of those issues were necessarily solved when they released the Frozen Tundra DLC. They just added a different area that was snowy, and stuff would get single-digit frame animations there as well, and it would still run the same, and if not worse. Nothing was really improved about the base game.
Yeah.
So I feel like I've just been burned too many times, Grubb.
Yeah, I get it, and I don't blame you. And again, I think that's the most common sentiment out there.
But the thing is, like, people have pointed this out here. Game Freak has made their money already, and also there's so many streamers, so many content creators out there, specifically like PokeTubers, that have just gone over this hill and like they're fine.
Right, exactly. They've accepted it for they've taken it for what it is, because at the end of the day, there's still a lot of interest in Pokemon. There's a lot of money to be made in that content. There's a lot of enjoyment to be had from playing those games if that's the kind of game you like. And I think people have found that enjoyment. So it's a certain point you just say, okay, this is the rough medicine you got to take to get the sugar of what GameFreak did do with this game. And a lot of people are pretty happy with that side of things, even if our own Jan Ochoa maybe not so much. But that's fair. Hey, you know what though? Game Freak, maybe they can make another game, which they are potentially working on. Game Freak has registered a trademark for a potential new pocket card jockey game. This comes from Chris Scullion at VGC. The cult favorite solitaire horse racing game released on the 3DS in Japan in 2013, and that was the original Pocket Card Junkie, although it was called, I think it's just Solitaire Horse, I believe is what it translated to in Japan. Reception of the game was largely positive, and it currently has a score of 83 on Metacritic. Now, according to a trademark application published in Japan last week, it appears that the game may be making a comeback in some form. The application, as flagged by Trademark Botan Twitter, is for the trademark Solitaire Horse Ride On. I was going to try to read the Japanese kanji, and I realized I do not have the ability to do that. The original game was simply known as Solitaire Horse in Japan, suggesting that this new title, this is a new title rather than a renewal of an existing trademark. What's not clear is whether the Ride On suffix refers to a sequel or a remaster of the original game for modern formats such as the Switch. Jay, did you ever play Solitaire Horse, Pocket Card Jockey, or really any of the other Game Freak games, or have you mostly just been a Pokemon boy? Pokemon boy.
They released like a town game, if I recall correctly, a couple years ago.
My Little Boy Hero or something like that. Yeah,
My Little Boy Hero Town 64, right. Something like that.
Yeah, sounds right.
And I had high hopes of like, hey, maybe they actually hate making Pokemon and they'll excel at making other games that they might actually like.
So I think you might have been onto something. It's just you seemed like you might have ran into the one where that wasn't true.
I bet on the wrong horse.
Jockey. Yes, you bet on the wrong horse. God damn it. Pocket Card Jockey is beloved. I know people who really like this game. I've always meant to play it. I think I even have it now on my 3DS through means, and I have not actually booted it up yet. So I probably do that. But I'm very excited that they're going to bring this back. Even if it is just that original game playable on the Switch, that would be fantastic. So this is pretty cool. And I got reminded, I can't even remember where I was now, but someone who is pretty familiar with Game Freak says, one of the reasons they do these other games is to train the next generation of senior developers at Game Freak so that they can then go work on other Pokemon games. The Pokemon grind is so rigid that you can't sort of test new people on new ideas. You have to just throw them right into the fire. And so the only way to really train these employees that are gonna be at Game Freak and are gonna be the future of Pokemon is to do these other projects. Now, I think that obviously didn't help them with an HD Switch, a big open world HD game. Obviously, they were doing some HD games before this most recent one, but the big open world HD game that they finally did with Scarlet and Violet and even Arceus. But like, because they haven't made a ton of those HD games on these side projects, but this helps with the mechanics and the management structure and things like that. And at the end of the day, they've put out some pretty good stuff. Pocket Card Junkie. They also did Drill Dozer. Drill Dozer was them as well. I think.
Drill Dozer was them.
I'm pretty sure Drill Dozer was Game Freak. Yeah, I think that's right. But yeah, they've had a lot of pretty good hits. So I'm very excited to see them going back to this one. I know people love Pocket Card Junkie.
Maybe they did not need to go full 3D open world, perhaps.
Yes, I think they could have kept going what they did with Sun and Moon, right? Where it's like just keep it a little bit more contained and build on top of that, and eventually get to this full open world. Yeah, and I know
it seems like they do have like the systems element of like the combat,
right,
at least, and like leveling up and like the stats part. I don't want to say completely set in stone and like good to go, but for the most part, it's good. It's great. It works well. It's the rest of the parts that are questionable.
People keep hearing me say pocket card junkie, pocket card jockey. It's a jock.
I'm the junkie here.
Yes. Oh, well, hey, listen, I saw that new update. I actually was just about to get into it, and then I realized I had to do this show, so I had to make a tough choice. Now I got the itches. All right. Tekken 8 will reportedly be shown during the Game Awards. This is from Chris Scullion at VGC. Let me go ahead and bring this up real quick. We can... there we go. Tekken 8 should make an appearance at the Game Awards. It's been reported. Twitch streamer Avoiding the Puddle tweeted a photo of what appears to be promotional merchandise for the game. The package includes a t-shirt with the Tekken 8 logo on it, as well as a message suggesting that the game will be shown at the Game Awards. The message simply reads, "Tune into the Game Awards live stream," and includes a link to the Game Awards Twitch channel and a reminder of its December 8 date. And so we can kind of see that here. That makes sense. This is another fighting game that's been announced already. It was announced in September. And what is the point of announcing a fighting game before the next Evo if you're not going to release it before the next Evo? Right? That's kind of where we're at with it, I think.
Yeah, I feel like that's like the big tentpole event for the fighting game community. I mean, maybe we're out of touch and that there's other bigger...
Could be, yes.
events other than Evo, but at least to me, that's like the big one to hit.
Yeah, let's see. Jason, you could change the Chiron or whatever at the top here if we're wrong, and you could just say you guys are dumb if that's true. But otherwise, yeah, we could just leave it. I'm excited for this. I'm like in the mood for fighting games. I don't know what happened. I think it just. I think sometimes it's like, oh, fighting games aren't going anywhere. That fighting game community has, at least on the periphery that I engage with, has seemingly matured in such a way that they're like, man, please just come play with us. We just want people to come play with, and we're going to make this stuff welcoming. And we've gotten over the sort of gatekeepy, you got to be an input master to come and play with us. And a lot of that aggressive stuff has just worn off. They've sort of rubbed those rough edges off. And now they're like, we just want to put out games that people can play, and we're going to be happy if people are playing them. And so Street Fighter 6 and Tekken 8 both seem like they are made in that mold, and I am. Nah, you're right. Thank you. All right. Shout outs, Jason. Thank you. That's fantastic. Yes. Woo. And so, yeah, I am ready to get into a fighting game, and I really enjoyed the short amount of time I spent with Tekken 7, which I guess was several years ago now. I just am still not used to that being so long ago. So I'm ready for Tekken 8.
Jason tweeted recently a little hitbox thingy he picked up from Etsy, and man, did I want to immediately go buy it as well. It's just like it looks like a teensy little keyboard for ants, but you can just play fighting games with it.
Yeah, but let's see, someone in chat was just saying it. Yeah, Dizzy Hippo says, but you can even now just use a default controller, and people are not going to be weird about it. There are competitive players who use default controllers, and people are just over it. Now, if you do what one Mitch Telcoda does and use the analog stick for a 2D fighter, people will still get mad at you, especially if you try to argue that it's more like a joystick than a D-pad, because it's not. Analog is analog, and a joystick was always digital. So if you guys want to go and at Telcoda and just be like, you're a disgusting analog fighting game player, I'm fine with that, and I think we should all encourage that behavior. Discourage his behavior, though. Okay, let's move on. Jan, I'm glad you're here. Disney's Dreamlight Valley is getting an update. The Toy Story update will add Stitch and NPC outfits. I got it right here. Let's go just click this and see what they do there. This one comes from Chris Scullion at VGC. Next week's major update for Disney Dreamlight Valley will add Stitch to the game, as well as new outfits for NPCs. It was previously announced that the update would be released on December 6th and would include Toy Story content. However, a new image posted on the game's official Twitter account shows some of the extra content set to be introduced over the course of the next update. Here we could see, yes, there is Stitch behind the new Mickey Mouse pants that I'm sure accentuate the buttocks just as well as any of the other pants in this game. And Mickey Mouse in a top hat, and there's a cat with a Christmas wreath around its neck. It's good. Yeah, it's good stuff, right, Jan? It's looking good.
Oh man, what a season, baby. I am now even more ready for the holidays.
Yes, talk about getting some honey baked ham for the holidays. Sorry, no, I know everyone hates it when we're like this about this game, but I can't help it. I love it.
It's good. It's fine, Grubb. This is a classic thing in comedy. You just ride out a bit until people are super duper sick of it.
Yeah, keep
they
the train running.
Right back around.
Yes,
and it's like, all right,
do it.
I'm also a sicko now.
Choo choo. Let's train keeps rolling. I mean, listen. Are you gonna go back to it? That's the big question.
Here's the thing, Grubb. I haven't left it.
Okay, fantastic. So then you've been like paying attention to this. You knew this was coming. You're excited for it. Like, what's up?
I knew this was coming.
Hell yes.
I blame John Drake.
Hell yes. Of course, it's John Drake's fault. Is that Merlin in a because he's an NPC in the game already, right? So they just put him in a Santa-looking suit. That's fantastic. That's pretty good.
Yeah, this game is surprisingly still pretty okay.
I like it.
I think this is to not get Susio here, folks. This is a game that I bond with my cousin about because a lot of the content creators that she follows, because she doesn't follow my inane bullshit. She moved on from Disney Dreamlight Valley. And I was like, hey, I'll just like stream my farm to you through Discord if you want.
Oh, that's sweet.
So there we go. And then I don't say out loud all the Susio stuff.
Yeah, you can just think it.
Yeah, I just think it instead.
There's no horny police in your brain.
Exactly. It's the Wild West out there, baby.
Fantastic. All right, we're moving on to free Sonic Frontiers DLC will include new story content and playable characters. This comes from Tom Ivan at VGC. Sega has confirmed the Sonic Frontiers content roadmap for the next year. The publisher said on Wednesday that it plans to release 3 free DLC updates for the game in 2023. While it said its plans are subject to change, the first DLC update is currently set to include a photo mode, a jukebox, and new challenge modes. The second update will include Sonic's birthday, an open zone challenge, and new Coco. The third update will add playable new story content and playable characters. Now, here's the thing I want to know about Sonic's birthday. I know that I had some friends that went to Sonic's birthday at E3 one year, and they served blue Sonic Teenies. Just little martinis that were, tainted blue. Will we be able to get Sonic Teenies in this game? Is what I'm hoping for. I'm just going to assume so, right?
Yeah, I hope that's just a cosmetic that he's always holding.
Yeah, just running around and just sort of a little wobbly, but still fast. He's Sonic.
Yeah. Takes a little sip as he goes through like a loop.
Yeah, I like. Is Sonic Frontiers a live service game?
I was very confused when I read this headline of like, wait, DLC, new story content? What's going on here? Yeah. But then I remember, I forget which specific person working on the game had talked about it, but like, you guys are like pretty much our beta testers. You guys are going to fix the game with us.
Yep. Yeah, it's there was like this Sonic team head, I think, or something like that. But yeah, I mean, it just seems like this stuff was always planned, and it's all free, right? This is free DLC, so they're just trying to keep people coming back to the game, keeping people interested, and I think they think that this game could sell for quite some time if they support it. So yeah, and then new playable characters. It looks like they have Tails, Knuckles, and Amy there. I have not finished this game, so I'm not sure who is playable in it now. I guess I almost assumed at least one or two of those characters was already playable, and if that's not the case, it will be soon or by the end of next year, it seems like. So, cool. All right, let's move on to the Todd Howard section. Todd Howard is aware of a newfound pressure at Xbox to perform well with its games. This comes from Evan Campbell at GameSpot. Bethesda Game Studios director and executive producer Todd Howard understands that working as part of Xbox brings about new challenges. In a recent interview, he opened up about that pressure, about the pressure that comes with being a first-party studio. The Starfield director discussed his newfound duty on the podcast with scientist Lex Friedman. We've had a lot of success with the games that you've talked about, but we've never been kind of that platform seller, the game for a platform for a period of time. And so there is a lot of pressure. There's a lot of responsibility to make sure we deliver for everybody. But Howard added that console exclusivity isn't new to Bethesda. In fact, he pointed out that there are a lot of benefits with working directly with Xbox and for Xbox on a game that is primarily exclusive to Xbox. We were traditionally a PC developer in the beginning. We transitioned to Xbox, and it became our lead platform. Like Morrowind's basically exclusive to Xbox. Oblivion was exclusive to Xbox for a long period of time. Skyrim DLC was exclusive. So we've done a lot of, like, our initial stuff is all Xbox. So when we get into development, say we're focused on Xbox, it's not abnormal for us in any way. It's been kind of the norm. And from a development side, I like the ability to focus and have help from them. You know, the top engineers at Xbox to say we are going to make this look incredible on the new systems. From my standpoint, it's just awesome. And I think that sounds pretty good. I get like wanting games to be everywhere, and there's also benefits to having a game just focused on a platform, be able to take advantage of it. I'm like fine either way, but I bet as a developer it is pretty exciting. But hey, this company wants this game to be big, so they're giving us help, and we can put in extra effort to make sure it goes over the top and is really great for this one specific console that you could play it on, you know, as well as PC. But then also he mentions that there's a lot of pressure there. I think he's probably right. Starfield is going to be the first time where Bethesda, puts out a game, and it needs to be the one that goes and makes numbers happen for this console. And if it's sort of a stumble for them, it's not just a stumble for them, it's a stumble for all of Xbox. And I bet they're feeling that. What do you think? Yeah,
I mean, unfortunately, Todd Howard is another person similar to GameFreak where I think like, all right, I'll believe when the game is completely shipped, and then a couple months later, after it's been worked on some more, but maybe
by the community, and I get all the mods. That's who's going to work on it for me. Yes,
right. So I feel like I'm under the assumption that Microsoft is aware of that, but they're also aware of like the immense amount of weight and pressure on this team already. They're like, all right. You only have to focus on this platform, like we talked about, but we're going to make sure that you stick the landing as best as possible, because this is also a reflection on us now, because you're a part of us.
And I think that the most recent history is Bethesda sort of having that big slip up with Fallout 76. So and you know their reputation already a little bit on the line. Bethesda's reputation is in a certain weird place where, we the first thing we do think of is they put out games that have a lot of bugs. That's always been sort of fine to me, but I think the wider audience has been like, hey, I know these games could be broken, and some of them could be significantly broken and unplayable, especially if you ever played something like Oblivion. I think it was Oblivion on PlayStation 3, or maybe that was even Skyrim. Skyrim on PlayStation 3, where it's like that was kind of unplayable, especially after having a save that was many hours in. It would just become very crashy. So the people hold these grudges against Bethesda, and rightly so in many cases, and they have to deal with that baggage. And then on top of that, now they're dealing with the baggage of Xbox not having any games for an entire year. And the next real big one is going to be the Starfield, and boy, if it misses, it's going to look bad for everyone involved.
Yeah. I mean, folks are chiming away in the chats that Fallout 76 did launch poorly, but now it's great.
Yeah, people really like it.
I don't know if Microsoft can afford for
too many of them. Right, Halo did that, right, and Halo's still in that process. It launched pretty good, and then everything after that's been so it's kind of a little bit of the reverse, but. Still, they are in a situation where they're waiting for this game to come back around, and they can't have, we had Halo, and then forever a big gap, and then the next game is going through the same thing. That just makes it look like there's some sort of incompetence in the leadership at Microsoft overall. So I think you're right that they don't want that to happen. They want to have a good game out of the gate here, and I'm not sure they're going to be able to pull it off. I'm excited to see them try. We'll see.
I always want folks to ship the best game possible that they can.
Absolutely. Machine Games' Indiana Jones title is a unique genre mashup, says Todd Howard. I should try to say genre like Alex Trebek did. Genre. I love that. There's a good supercut of him doing that. I recommend watching that whenever. Genre. From Tom Ivan at VGC. Howard, who's serving as executive producer on the game, was asked if it will have an action-adventure side to it during an interview with the Lex Freeman podcast. I would just say it's a mashup, he responded. It is unique. It isn't one thing intentionally, so it does a lot of different things. Howard, who named Raiders of the Lost Ark as his favorite movie of all time, also called the game a definitive love letter to Indiana Jones. He said Wolfenstein developer Machine Games is the perfect fit for the game with storytelling and how they record it, and that the studio is doing an incredible job. I'm pretty confident about Wolfenstein being able to nail the story side of things, but those Wolfenstein games from Machine Games were just fantastic on that front. I really hold those in super, super high regard. But you know what? When I hear movie license game doing a whole bunch of genres, I think about all of the James Bond games that came out after GoldenEye, right? Because they were all like, okay, here's the shooting section, and here is the action adventure section, and here is the driving section. We're gonna put you in a plane for a little bit or a helicopter. That's what it reminds me of, and it makes me worried it'll be a Master of None situation, right?
I am on the opposite side of this coin, Grubb.
Oh, yeah. Okay, what do you got?
I enjoyed some of those 007 games.
Some of them are pretty good, yes. They're, the vast majority of them,
sure.
But there was, like, what were the good ones? I want to say Nighthawk. That's definitely not the name of it. Nightfire?
I don't remember. I just remember one of them being on the PS1, and then Pierce Brosnan's face just, like, poopily printed on, like super pixely on the start screen.
Yes.
And then he had a laser gun, I think. I was like, why does he have a laser gun?
People like Agent Under Fire. Yeah, like there was also just 007 Racing on PS1. That was bad, but yeah, I guess what other option do you have these days, though? If you're putting out a massive game like this, it kind of does need to be sort of everything that the source material does. And Indiana Jones is the kind of thing where one scene he is, investigating a tomb and running through a tomb, but then the next he's in a car chase. And you kind of want all of that in there, especially if you spend a lot of money on this IP, which they did. So I kind of don't blame them, and they don't really have any other choice. Excuse me. And I think they could probably pull it off. That games have come a long way since, we were doing those James Bond games and all the other movie license games. Engine technology is much more versatile. It's not 100% versatile, but it's much more than what it was. So I'm hopeful, and I think this is probably still the right choice, even if it does give me some flashbacks to a very bad period in movie license gaming.
My one worry, which is the smallest worry in the world, is I feel like a big part of Indiana Jones movies is just Indiana Jones himself. Mm-hmm. Machine Games. Was there ever like a third-person mode in any of the
So that's still
Wolfensteins? No? Okay.
So that's still a big question I think a lot of people have. I don't know if they've come out and said one way or the other yet. And people are worried that it's going to be first person. I'm fine with it if it's first person, but I understand a lot of people really wanting that third person because you want to see the star and you want people feel more connected to it. Some people feel more connected to it if you can see the character there doing cool stuff. And I think that I get that. I think they probably will go in that direction. But what was it that Phantom Abyss with the whip in there? I'm like, man, that was a good first person Indiana Jones game. Yeah, absolutely. But that's like an action game. So if this is an action adventure genre mix up that puts you from one thing to the next, and it's all about the storytelling, I think it's probably going to be third person in the end.
I also don't want them to go full new age Tomb Raidery where Indy's just constantly getting beat up by everything. I kind of still want that like Indiana Jones movie, like Hollywood charm to it, right? Where he's like narrowly getting away almost unscathed.
Yes, I think that yes, and then when he does get beat up, it should be by the giant friggin' Nazi that then gets chopped up by the plane, right? That's when we put him in a dire situation where normally he skates by but it doesn't look like he's going to get out of this one, and then something spectacular happens to get him out of it. Like that's when you do that, and I think you're right. Otherwise, it should feel a lot like those Forza races that are scripted, where no matter what, you just barely beat the train. I think that could be. You just kind of make an entire Indiana Jones game that way. I think that could be pretty cool.
Yeah, those are fun until you have to redo them because you mess up.
Yes, absolutely right. And so I think they should just make the game in a way where it's those sequences come up every once in a while, and pretty much you can't film it. You never have to redo them.
Give me short round.
And 100% we should have short round. Absolutely. They should just make the movie series short round going forward. Absolutely. I agree, Jan. That's a great idea.
Oh my God. Have like a separate sequence where it's basically Captain Toad's treasure, whatever, but it's just short round.
Yes. Yes. Oh my God. That's incredible stuff. I love that. Oh boy. All right. Let's move on here to Valve is giving out free Steam Decks during the Game Awards. This comes from Darren Bonthus at GameSpot. Next week's The Game Awards show looks set to be a big event, and as usual, it'll be available to watch on a wide range of platforms. If you need some motivation to watch it through Valve's PC client Steam, the company plans to give users a few hundred reasons as to why they should ditch YouTube, Twitch, and IMAX for its platform. As part of an official The Game Awards collaboration, Valve will give out a Steam Deck every minute to one lucky viewer in the US, Canada, United Kingdom, or European Union. To stand a chance to win one of these hybrid PC gaming systems, all you have to do is pre-register, have a valid Steam purchase from between November 14th, 2021 and November 14th, 2022, be in good standing, and not have a limited account. If you meet those requirements and watch the live stream of the Game Awards, you'll stand a chance to win one of the 512 gigabyte models of the Steam Deck. This is pretty neat. That's going to be like a few hundred Steam Decks because the Game Awards last for about a day and a half, right? It just never ends.
Yeah.
So.
Oh yeah. I hope Gabe hand delivers these too.
I know. Yeah. Just show up to everyone's house. It's like, yeah, that just take like a week or two. You can make that happen. Do you think this means that they have other announcements at the Game Awards, or is the announcement, hey, you should buy a Steam Deck?
I think I'd be hopeful that there's a new announcement, but then I think the announcement that I want is that Half-Life Alyx will be on PSVR 2, which will motivate me to get that.
Yeah.
But tied in with this promotion they got going on, I think it's maybe more so leaning of like, yo, we got the Steam Deck. We got more Steam Decks now. You can get one.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, I think that seems like the big thing here. I agree. I got a kid with a PKE meter right here trying to tell me if I'm a ghost. Oh, you're going to go find a ghost? Okay, kiddo. Go find the ghost.
Yeah, I will go ghost hunting with your children.
Hey, Jan says he's got a bunch of ghost hunting equipment he'll give you. Yeah, there you go. All right. Ghost bouncers. I think that they're just at a point where they have a Steam Deck in a really good place in terms of its production, and they want to emphasize that. And a good way to emphasize that is we are giving away a few hundred. And we could do that because now if you want to just go buy one, we could just sell it to you and we'll ship it to you immediately. That's kind of something they would probably want to emphasize. I bet they wanted to get to a point this year where they could put the thing in system or in stores, but they didn't. So like this is the next best alternative. And then next year it'll probably be in stores.
If they were to put the Steam Deck in stores, do you think they'd put all three SKUs out, or just like the middle tier?
Sorry, I was yelling at my kid. What was the question?
If Steam did have the availability to put Steam Decks out in stores, do you think they'd put out all three SKUs?
No. I think
maybe just the middle tier, or the cheapest tier.
I think the cheapest and the most expensive one, or something like that. I don't know. Maybe they would put all three tiers, but they would be in like varying quantities. And I bet the most expensive one would probably be the most plentiful one. And then the other two would be like here and there, you'd be able to find one. But for the most part, if you want a Steam Deck, you got to pony up and get the big one. Otherwise, you can just go to Steam. If you really want the other one, just go to Steam. Is probably how it would work. So, but I that thing is a success, and the next steps are pretty obvious. You get in retail and you take it from there, and then we get a revision in the next couple of years, and it'll be 25% smaller, 25% more powerful, and 25% or more expensive. So if you people keep asking me, hey, should I get a Steam Deck or should I wait for the next one? If you are interested at all, get this one, because the next one is going to be significantly more expensive. All right,
we still may be on the 3-up, I've noticed.
Oh yeah, thank you. Yes, let me go ahead and transition back here. Thank you, I appreciate that. Marvel Snap update gives you a new way to earn cards. Here we go, Jan. From Steve Watts at GameSpot. A new update for Marvel Snap is live now, which lets you purchase specific cards that may be missing from your collection. The update, which was detailed last week, is aimed at resolving the issue of card acquisition feeling too random once you get past a certain collection level. As part of the update, you'll also get a login bonus of tokens, the new currency used for card purchases. Now, Steve Watts, I don't want to throw shade, but I love the way that you phrase this as them coming and solving a problem for us by enabling us new ways to spend money on the game.
Steve.
Do you want to? Oh, you wanted to buy some cards? Oh, of course, we can solve that issue for you.
Steve, please.
Steve, please, Steve. Yeah, I mean, I do feel that way, but this was 100% planned. It's not even a problem they created. Dr. Ansell's a problem they created. It's not a problem. This was the plan. This was, let's gently introduce new monetization stuff after being like, man, I got so many cards for free. It's random. I kind of wish it wasn't random, but whatever. I'm getting so much. And then you stop getting so much. And now here you could buy what you need.
Can you buy... So I saw this pop off last night, and I don't know if you can buy the collector's tokens.
No, but I think you could only earn the collector's tokens by getting the creator the player caches, right?
Yes.
But you can get more caches by spending money on gold and upgrading your cards more quickly and stuff like that. And it's like it's all tied into the wider economy. Now, if you do want to go buku bucks crazy on this game, Jan, do I have an option for you? Speaking of purchases, the update also added a big new way to spend your gold. A Cyber Holiday Bundle cost a whopping 7,500 gold and will be available for roughly the next 3 weeks. It's themed after Kim Jacinto's variant of the Apocalypse card and comes with a matching avatar, 3,000 tokens, 9,500 credits, and 155 Apocalypse boosters. For reference, a bundle of 8,000 gold cost $100. So this is basically a $90-ish bundle. I was like looking at this. I'm like, oh, I should get this. I got the last couple of things. Let me go here and do the math real quick. And I scrolled down to the gold, and I was like, oh, what? So I guess 3,000 tokens, 9,500 credits. Obviously, that's like, yeah, it's a lot of the stuff, but it's like that. It stands out because there's not like a $10 bundle of stuff you can go get right now. There's just this $90 bundle. You gonna get it?
Yeah. I can't. I did immediately see, as I popped back onto the ladder, I poop you not, 3 games in a row, people had bought that Apocalypse pack.
Oh, damn, this game's gonna make a fuck ton of money. That's hilarious.
Yo.
Oh, man.
The devs of this game, I hope they are rolling in it, man.
Yeah. Any chance those were like marketing bots? Like, oh, let's just show him that stuff so he gets jealous.
Maybe. It's fully capable. I'm still not 100% sure the times when I'm playing a real person or not, based off of. Actually, I am pretty sure I'm playing a real person because sometimes the moves they're making are just completely asinine. It's like, why would you do that?
Yeah, I feel like I've been able to dial it in, but I don't know. It definitely felt like when the ladder reset, the first 30 levels almost of the ladder it felt like all bots again. So, but it's been all people since then, as far as I could tell.
And the neat thing is, this is completely optional.
Yes.
To do.
Yes.
It's
not really pay to win in any way. Yeah. So.
And unless you really, really want whatever card of the day or like of the 8 hours is on the shop, right. You don't have to go get those collector tokens. I mean, you still can grind for collector tokens, but you don't have to get this $95 pack in the store. The thing that one of my gripes with Marvel Snap, though, is that they always have these, at least they've had this for Halloween and for the Wakanda event, they've had these side mission stuff that is so off into like a menu that you need to dig into it to participate in it. Because I got a reward of like, hey, thanks for participating in the Wakanda something event. Here's 100 credits. I'm like, I was participating in this? What?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's one of those games where like there's a million things going on, so it's kind of hard to even keep track sometimes. But I just think I see people like, oh, weren't you guys screaming about the Overwatch skins? I don't remember screaming about it. But also this is if you played Marvel Snap, you know how not generous, but it just gives you so much stuff all the time. and there's so many ways to get variants, and it's kind of hard to almost spend money on that stuff. Again, I think I've just spent the two
battle passes, right?
and the Captain America
pack.
So that's like 23-ish bucks so far. But then like most of the other stuff I've gotten has just been just by playing the game and it giving me the natural rewards. And it's not like those variants are it's a different colored May skin. Now these are these are the variants that are just as good as any of the other variants. And so it's just like, it's not the same thing. This is a better monetized game than Overwatch or a lot of other games. And it should be applauded for that. Now, obviously, we are getting to the point with this news story right here. Like, that's where you're going to see the shift. Does the shift go off the rails? I would say not so far. This is one skin and a whole bunch of other things that you can use to get a whole bunch of other stuff. And it's like it's something to do. If you are the person who wants to be spending $100 on this game, it's something to do with that. It's not for me. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to stick with the battle passes. And so far, that's been the best way for me to engage with that game because it does give me a ton to do every time I do want to go play it. And I'm like, oh, I have popped off a whole bunch of stuff and got a bunch of upgrades here. So it's been pretty good. But, it's been good monetization so far. Doesn't mean it still will be. And if it starts becoming pretty bad, we'll call it out. But so far, it's just not worth calling out.
Yeah. Like if you can only get the new cards, like Pool 4, Pool 5, only through the shop, rather than getting through the collector cash stuff, then that becomes a problem rather than being able to actually do free to play. And I still believe you could 100% get through this game free to play. Because, now I'm in Pool 3, deep in it, and some of the most success I've had is with Pool 1 decks.
Yes, Pool 1 decks are
still using that.
Yes, if you are synergizing your Pool 1 decks really well, you could still have a ton of success there. Unless that Overwatch skin that we were complaining about was for May, which was disabled. So it was a $20 skin for a character you could not play as yet. Now, that was only less than a day, but it was the day that we were talking about it. All right, last story here. Let's just hit this real quick and then wrap this show up because we are coming up to the hour. Persona 5 Royal's release on Switch contributes to over 1 million total sales. This comes from Ollie Reynolds at Nintendo Life. In a message shared online, Atlas has confirmed that the recent launch of Persona 5 Royal on Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC has now surpassed 1 million units sold. This figure accounts for sales across digital platforms and physical retail copies. Additionally, when including the original release on the PlayStation 4, total series sales for PlayStation 5 Royale, or for Persona 5 Royal, have now reached 3.3 million. The series as a total has hit 16.8 million. Not too surprising that you put this game out everywhere and it sells, but it's like, okay, another 1 million copies for this game. So pretty good stuff. We've talked about this recently where it's like, hey, are they going to put all the Persona games out everywhere going forward? They've basically confirmed as much, but it's like, can you still trust them? Atlas has been so flaky in the past, but it does seem like this is they've reached an inflection point here where they cannot go back. This is now a multi-platform series. People are going to be expecting it. It's going to make sense, and it's going to make them money if they do it, so I think they'll do it. All right, you know what? Let's get to the poll. Let's do this. Yesterday, we asked, is Street Fighter 6 releasing by spring? Is that right? Is that the right question? No, that's from 2 days ago. Let me get it real quick here. In the meantime, Jan, what do we have happening on Giant Bomb today and tomorrow?
For the rest of the week, another Game Mess morning tomorrow. No Blight Club today because of scheduling reasons and stuff. But we will try and do some quick looks today. We'll also have the voicemail dump truck popping off today. UPF as per usual tomorrow. May have to rejigger the cast of that, but that is the lovely end of the week task as always here at GBHQ.
Big puzzle of the week. Yep.
Big puzzle of the week.
Yep.
But UPF will pop off somehow, some way. Yeah, we will find a way to be unprofessional.
Life finds a way. UPF finds a way. All right. Is the Donkey Kong redesign too hot? We asked this yesterday. 55.1% said yes. Said yo. The yes and no together. 55.1% said yes. 44.9% said no. And I'm assuming the 44.9% that said no said that because they think he's not hot enough yet. They want to make him even hotter, right? That's the only thing that makes sense to me.
They want like the Adonis V on Donkey Kong. You know,
yes, they want the vagina bones. Yeah, exactly.
Yes, exactly. The gutter. You know.
Yes,
you know what I'm talking
about. Fun
about.
gutter, right? Yeah.
The fun gutters.
All right. The question for tomorrow to cap off the week: do you think that Nintendo and Game Freak will make serious improvements to Pokemon's performance? Pokemon's performance. I'm gonna figure out how to say that correctly from now on.
Don't.
Pokemon's performance, and then we're gonna go with a yes and a no. And Jan, thank you so much for spending time with me today talking about video games.
Thank you, sir, for having me. It warms my heart.
And thank you, everybody out there, for watching. You're the best audience in gaming. Stick around here on Giant Bomb if you're watching live. If you're watching the VOD later, make sure you check giantbomb.com for the rest of our content. You're the best audience in gaming. Have a good one. Take care of yourself, and goodbye.